Osu has been around for so long. So long, some people might not even realize just how old the game truly is. The game came out in September 16th of 2007. Keep that in mind because the game is almost 20 years old. And the thing was, back in 2007, when the game initially launched, there wasn't so much going for it. There wasn't a very big community behind it. The game was so small, so minuscule, but it still managed to keep intact such a strong, tight-knitted community to this very day, almost 20 years after its launch. And you might be wondering, how did it even start, and who are the oldest Osu accounts still active to this day? Or maybe not active, but are still around to this day. So today we're going to be checking out the top 100 Osu accounts. Wait, maybe not top Osu accounts. The oldest Osu accounts currently. Let's go. Before we begin this video, there's a few things I want to mention. First off, I might be skipping a big chunk of the accounts mentioned in this video. Or a big chunk of the numbers at least. And that's because back in the day, if you weren't active for a while, they used to actually just delete your account. So, I believe from number 3 to like number 53 or 52, there will actually be a big chunk missing, and that's because the accounts in between are gone. They don't exist anymore. And a second thing that I want to point out is please do not go out of your way to just contact or harass anyone mentioned in this video, since they're all human and they all deserve some peace and respect, even after they quit Osu like a whole decade ago. So yeah, let's begin with this video. So user ID number 1, believe it or not, but it's actually a placeholder for when accounts are banned, or at least not visible. So the like true number 1 user ID, yeah, I feel like this one is pretty obvious, but it's obviously the creator of the game itself, Peppy of course, who actually joined the game the 28th of August 2007. And you might be wondering, sorry for that, but you might be wondering, how is that even possible? How the hell did he join the game before the game even released? Well, since he's the creator himself, he can join any day he wants. But besides that, basically, a few weeks before the game actually launched, the game was a closed beta for a select few people. So a few of his IRL friends and some online friends got some early access into the game before others did, if I'm correct now. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments, and I'll heart your comments so everyone can see. But that's what I believe at least. So number 1, Peppy. So the number 3 user ID is actually BanchoBot. And for those who are unaware who BanchoBot is, it's basically, yeah, by the name itself, a bot. But Bancho is basically the server that Osu runs on. And the bot is just there to like help moderate like chat and other stuff. So when you don't have a moderator in the chat or in the game, the BanchoBot will do all the work. So it's been there since the beginning. It joined the same day as Peppy and pretty much the same minute as him. And yeah, so it's user ID number 3. The next one on this list is user ID number 53 that belongs to the user Phil_old. So one thing you'll notice about these profiles coming up next is they're all from Australia, and it's probably due to the fact that they're, like I said before, Peppy's IRL friends. But this one is pretty significant due to the fact that it actually has a custom title, and that's due to the fact that this is the, like, besides from Peppy obviously, like the number 1 actual oldest user that you can find. So he has a very unique title of a upside down question mark, and he was actually quite active on the forums, as I can tell. And yeah, there's not much from him because yeah, he didn't really play the game. He was just active on the forums a bit, and yeah, that was that basically. So user ID number 55 actually belongs to someone you might recognize if you have kept up with the Osu scene for a while, or at least know a bit of lore about. And it belongs to Zalius. And obviously he's also from Australia, but this time he's actually played the game quite a bit, being at rank 300,000 around there at the time of recording this. And he's also a global moderator, and he also has a very unique title of his own. And believe it or not, but this is like one of the only few that actually has a colored title to it, so it's obviously something special. And his title says boats, if you couldn't see that already, but yeah, he's also one of Pepe's other friends. I think I already mentioned that, but yeah, he's one of his friends. He's from Australia, he's a global moderator, he's a long-time player, and yeah, that's all I can say for now at least. So user ID number 56 belongs to the user of Tiberio_old, and as you can tell from this profile, yeah, it is one of Pepe's RL friends obviously, but as you can tell, he doesn't play like at all. Compared to the other guys that we looked at so far, he played like twice maybe, and then he just dipped for good. He does, however, pop into the website every once in a while, being last seen only 2 years ago, back in 2024. There is not much of him at all. I think he just doesn't play the game at all. He just likes to pop into the website. But yeah, there's not much about him. So user ID number 57 is actually not someone from Australia this time. It's someone from Canada, and that belongs to the account name LSim or Elisim, I don't know, but let's just say LSim for now. And one thing you might notice about this profile is that they were last seen 18 years ago. And just to put into perspective just how long ago that was, this account could legally be an adult, and they're also older than most of the player base nowadays, which is insane to think about. So theoretically, this person could say, yeah, I was once a top player, and I also managed to have a rise and fall before you were even born. Just to put into perspective just how long ago that was. So next up, user ID 59. It belongs to the user Lumino, who is from Australia. No surprise there, obviously, but they're an OSU alumni, which I forgot to mention earlier, but a handful of these used to actually help with maintenance and stuff. So how you get OSU alumni is basically if you have a important role and you had that role for like a year or two or longer. So let's say you were a BN or a global moderator or something along the lines of that. That's how you get an OSU alumni badge or a title. And they were last seen 13 years ago, and they did not play so much, but they were, however, a beat map nominator. If you check their profile yourselves, they actually nominated a handful of maps. And there's not much to it. They were somewhat active on the forums, but not much other than that, really. So next up is user ID number 60, which, should I even repeat myself honestly, Australian, who could have guessed that? But this one belongs to the user 10 Cheats with a Z or Z at the end instead of S, which cool guy points, I guess. But he's an OSU alumni. One thing I did notice though is that he did not like nominate any maps or anything, so he's not a BN. So I figured he might be a global moderator of some sort. But the thing is, there's no badge or anything, so I don't have a clue what he might have been. But I'm figuring he might be a old global moderator. So if anyone wants to fill in on why that is, that he doesn't have anything on his profile, please let me know. But other than that, last seen 4 years ago, surprisingly. And he did play a little bit of the game, but not much than that, really. He popped in on the website and dipped. So next up is number 61. And, well, this time they're actually from the United Kingdom. Oh, okay, never mind, okay. Apparently they're from Australia now. Who would have thought? But either way, they were last seen 15 years ago. And also, just to put into perspective just how long ago that was, PPV1 wasn't even implemented yet. The ranking system used to be based around score. So that's just how long ago that was. Other than that, old beatmap nominator, nominated like a few maps. It played a little bit, but then ultimately just dipped, which is very unfortunate. So next up is the user ID number 62, by the name of Gen_old. Can you guess which country they're from? I wouldn't be able to guess, bro, honestly. But other than that, they were last seen 15 years ago, similar time to when the other guy left, unfortunately. However, I will point out, very little playtime, 26 minutes. That is very shocking to say the least. And they do, however, have a cute cat as their profile picture. So, W mans for that. Next up is number user ID 63. And this time, no jokes, no nothing. They're actually from the US. So this is the first United States account ever created. This one is pretty boring to look at, to be honest, because less than 1 hour playtime. However, they were last seen back in 2008, which is insane to think about. Oof. Next up is user ID number 65. There's not so much to look at here, other than they were actually active last time 4 years ago, which is pretty recent. Other than that, I mean, yeah, they did play a little bit. However, I forgot to mention, they're from the US. We're on a streak now. No more not Canadians, I mean Australians. But yeah, other than that, didn't play so much. Hops into the website every once in a while, but yeah, nothing more than that. So next up is the user ID number 66, with possibly the funniest name out of anyone in this list. Deep Fried Asian. Yeah, I know, it is actually quite funny if I'm gonna be honest. This account is quite special due to the fact that it was last seen 9 months ago. So in 2025, at the day of recording this video, which is actually very recently for a account from 2007. Aside from that, there's not much to look at here other than the fact that they played for 4 hours and then dipped. So yeah, it's a very boring profile, but cool to see that they're still doing well. So next up is user ID number 71. And this time, they're actually from Hong Kong, which is quite surprising because we don't have a lot of Asian countries here. Unless you want to count in Australia, of course. But other than that, it's quite a rare sight to see, but it's also quite exciting. And one thing that also sticks out about this profile, they were last seen 35 days ago, which is one of the only profiles that was active in 2026. If you don't count the moderators and stuff, then yeah, this account is somewhat still active. and they don't play like much or at all anymore. But it's still fun to see that they're still popping into the website as well. So next up is user ID number 72. And this one is quite a special one if you're an old player yourself. You might recognize this name, and it's Fruit. And he's from Hong Kong, which is actually quite surprising. We have 2 Hong Kongs in a row now. He was last seen, however, 11 years ago, which is quite unfortunate. But here's a fun little fun fact for you guys if you don't know this. But if you have ever played the map Aishiteru, you might have seen his name on the top. It's one of the only few 2007 scores that still exist on leaderboard to this day, which is also unsnipeable. And he's also made a few maps which actually have a pretty good amount of plays. He did play a little bit, but there's not really much notable about that really, aside from the fact that he made a few maps and he was somewhat of a stable figure at some point in the game. Next up is user ID number 73. However, we are going to keep it short since there's not much to look at other than the dope ass name, Lucky MF_old. I gotta tell you, man, whatever he was cooking back in the day, it is still fire to this day. This is a name that I would have personally used. Last seen 7 years ago, which is somewhat old at this point, but at the same time not. So back in 2018, so fairly recent for a 2007 account. Okay, so we're gonna keep this one short because there isn't much to look at here. But we're at user ID number 78, and this belongs to APPX_old. He's from Australia. He has less than 2 hours playtime, and he was last seen 14 years ago. Not much other than that, unfortunately. I'm also going to keep this one short as well, because there is also not much to look at here. But we're at user ID number 87. The username is potty_old. They're Australian. And last seen 13 years ago, but this time just 1 hour more playtime than the other guy, which is fun, I guess. I don't know. So now we're at user ID number 88, and this is a very familiar face to a handful of people here that are watching. So if you know about the lore about the #1 position in the game, you might have heard this name before, and it's none other than EOP. He was a former #1, and he was #1 for a big majority for 2007. He has 40 hours of playtime. He still survives on leaderboards somehow to this very day. He was, however, last seen 17 years ago. And just to put into perspective just how old and how long ago that was, Minecraft wasn't even released yet. It released 1 month after that guy has permanently quit. Which is crazy to think about. He might have left the game to become one of the earliest Minecraft users, if I had to know. Next up is user ID 94. And this one belongs to the user Shan. Let's get it straight off the bat here. He's from Australia. But other than that, last seen 80 years ago. Luckily, we have a more, filled in biography about what he's doing nowadays. He's a full-time engineer, it seems, which is good for him, bro. Cheering you on. One thing that I do want to point out as a fun fact, he is the creator of one of the longest maps in the entire game. He created the Para Max beat map, which sits at around like half an hour long, which I'm gonna be honest, if anyone sat through that, you honestly deserve some kind of medal, which is insane to even think about. So last but not least, user ID number 95. It belongs to an Australian, who would have thought? But the user is Elmo_old. Unfortunately, there's not much to look at here because he played for a little bit and then just dipped. However, one thing that I find quite funny, honestly, is he was last seen 8 years ago, back in 2018, which is quite surprising, honestly. But other than that, there's not really much to look at here, unfortunately. So this time I actually wanted to throw in a little bonus. Why? Well, that's because this one is probably the most interesting out of all of these profiles. It's user ID number 101, and that belongs to the user ALOT from Hong Kong, actually. So one thing you might notice is, yeah, they have a rank, and they're actually fairly high rank for being a old account. But also, they have a banner, they have a profile picture and everything. It's like they still actually play the game. Hindsight, they do. They do play the game a fair bit. They were actually last online. If I am correct now, it doesn't show when they were last online exactly, but they still played back in January this year. Which is crazy to think about, that this account right here, user 101, is still active on this game to this very day. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is one of my first long form videos, like very long form videos, if you will. And I actually did enjoy making this, so if you guys do like this style of content and want to see more, please just leave a like or just comment it down below, and I'll try to think of some more ideas. And if you want, you can also leave some ideas in the comments. Any feedback is very heavily appreciated, and yeah, hope to see you guys very soon.
Click the circles.